Hey, what's up everybody? River here. I want to discuss the almost perfect remake that is Dead Space 2023. This is textbook on how a remake should be done. It isn't perfect, but it's pretty close, guys. I'm talking 9 out of 10 potential here. The only reason it's not a 10 is because there are things that I still don't like about it, but there isn't many. Now, before we hop into this, I want to show you my basis on which I have fair grounds on which to review it. The first thing I want to talk about is the obvious, the graphics. We all expect at the bare minimum better graphics for a remake or a remaster. No doubt it delivered compared to its 2008 counterpart, but let's dive a little deeper, shall we? They added ray tracing, which is a wonderful addition. Unfortunately, it also caused a few quirks. Those being that sometimes a dark area of the game gets overly dark to the point I had to manually crank my brightness just to be able to see anything. I get it's a horror game, but the shadow's intensity with my ray tracing on was just too much. And when I disabled it for testing, everything looked much better. And of course, after I made these changes, the game was still dark, just not so dark that you couldn't even see Isaac. The second issue is much less problematic, but there just seems to be a few bugs with the lighting, I think, where it fades in and out when they aren't really supposed to. All in all though, the graphics look amazing and are a welcome touch. They seriously add to the immersion and increase the gore and horror aspects of the game.
Listen. The Ishimura's overrun with... they're fucking monsters. You didn't hear anything?
What? No, the comms are still out. Isaac...
We need the Killian fixed now. Got a damage report?
Yeah, it's there.
Oh god. This thing hardcore.
Singularity core. Evacuate immediately to minimum station.
Go!
Now, the next thing I want to discuss is the gameplay. And honestly, the gameplay is really well done. Very true to form from its original. Thank God for that. The gameplay is even better than it used to. Every movement and action is so smooth and precise, it feels great and responsive. Because of this, the satisfying shooty the limbs combat loop is 10 times better than it was before. The devs even added more environmental elements, and I'm such a sucker for it. I love when a game allows you to use your surroundings to help you defeat enemies. Now, the original Dead Space has always had the red explosives you can shoot, but the remake has added poles and such so you can grab with your kinesis and shoot them at the necromorphs to pin them or spear them. It's so satisfying. Another neat thing they added is that they made the Ishimura fully explorable, and it has no loading screens, which is really immersive. A fine addition to what was a very linear experience before. Now, I believe that's everything I wanted to discuss as far as the gameplay was concerned, so I would really like to get into the meat of this video. The story. Now, essentially, what the developers did is they took the original story and they made its plot deeper and more believable. Essentially, what I mean by this is they added more depth and backstory. I don't want to spoil anything, but the more depth they added to the Unitology religion alone is mind-blowing to me. They essentially added everything that the novels had already portrayed. I do love the story that they added for the remaster, but I do still have one gripe with it. I hate that your gameplay is often halted for the sake of exposition or long dialogue video calls, with no skipping option. Now, I think the unskippable cutscenes is fine for the first playthrough, but it makes the game very tedious to play for New Game Plus if you're trying to get collectibles or achievements. And it makes it even more tedious for people that want to do speedrunning. And I get that not everybody wants to speedrun, and not everybody is a speedrunner, but the speedrunning community could definitely help with the life of the game. Now here's an example for you guys, okay? If you do a New Game Plus for collectibles, be prepared for something like 1 whole hour of downtime during your run, which can be so annoying to say the least. And now the very last thing I want to mention is the characters. I love all the new additions that we have. I think they're very well written, and I think they were placed in there to help with the depth and the believability of the story, and I think they did a phenomenal job in making these characters. Anyways, guys, I know this has been a short one today, but my final thought is this. If you're in the market for a horror game that really isn't that scary, then I strongly recommend Dead Space 2023. It is a fantastic game to immerse yourself and lose hours playing, and the full price tag at $60 may seem off-putting to some for a remake, but I argue the game has enough new content to justify that full price, in my opinion. Well, those are my thoughts. A lot of good and very little bad. I love this game, and it's a solid 9 out of 10, almost perfect. Now, if the devs go back and add skippable cutscenes and dialogues, I would consider it a 10 out of 10 probably. If you like this video, please do me a favor and leave a like, and feel free to comment and we can discuss this masterpiece of a remake. Thanks for watching, everybody. Later on.